usually don't talk about how I come up with them, I just do. Well, Act 1 takes place primarily on and around the different ships. And so the concept behind that is the wooden planks that are on the ship and around the ship and above the ship. And so that's where the idea of the planked walls come into play. We have the new sliding screen system to give us some slightly different locations. A couple times they end up on top of the deck of the ship, so which allows us to open up to see the moon and the sky and stuff. But the really nice thing about these screens are it gives us some really cool depth when we start to add some of the lighting things to it. I'm able to light behind so we see silhouettes. I'm able to run shadows and stuff through the screens so that you can see multiple layers of things happening, which is very consistent with this show. We have multiple layers of actors playing multiple different characters. There's a different level as you peel through each piece of this show, which is what is hopefully represented in the scene design. So this program here is called Clarity, and it's the lighting control program that we use in the main stage. One really nice thing is I'm able to write light cues remotely, so I don't have to be here at the stage watching the lights happen. And then I found this other program, Starcatcher Atlas, which the Clarity software will talk to. So I do the same thing I would here, where I insert lighting fixtures, the different types, and then I go ahead and focus them on the stage. When I get to lighting design, then I'm able to have the Clarity talk to Capture Atlas, which allows me to pre-do all the cues ahead of time before I get to the stage and then see what they really look like. It allows me to do a lot at home or other places, and then we can basically light the show before we get here. And then the little tweaks get to happen once we get to Tech Week and all that type of thing. And so I'm able to write the light cues, and then I come to the stage when we tech. I usually run through them once before any actors get here to make sure it looks the way I want, and then I can do final tweaks once all the actors get up on the stage. I always like to say this about a lighting designer, that if a lighting designer does their job well, you don't really notice the lighting. And the lighting, the things that people notice are the special effect type things like our pattern gobos. So for example, the bars that happen in the dungeon, or there's, I have some jungle gobos that are kind of minimal because you don't really see them, but it adds some texture as you move through the jungle. For the storm, we have those flickering in and out to give that torment of the storm happening on the actors as they move through. So I think that's a really cool component that we've added this time around. The other great thing that lights can do is it can help define location, it can help set mood, and so in this show you'll see there's things with light that we can contain components that we want to see, and highlight things that we want to see, divide out spaces, and it just kind of helps forward the story and tell the story. Lots of times, like I said, the audience won't necessarily say, what was the lighting that helped me do that? But it does definitely help communicate what we're trying to get across and help them understand that whole progression of the story.